knows how to wield a sword, spells arcane and divine, up on his shield to a wolf. And if you have the time, he's got a mean sales pitch, he even makes it rhyme. And if you need a job, this is his go-to line. Some people wanna die more, I can't imagine why. They say once you fuck the bomb, there's nothing left to buy. But if you wanna die rich, go punch up on both eyes. Then raise up your long sword, follow me and die. Yeah, raise up your long sword, follow me and die. Knows how to wield a sword, spells arcane and divine, up on his shield to a wolf.
Hello and welcome to Follow Me and Die on the Friday night world building stream. I hope everybody out there in internet land is having a glorious Friday night. Here in Southwest Michigan it's starting to cool off quite a bit, so I hope you're all staying warm. We're all staying warm here at my place, so it's all good. So I have been endeavoring to be more organized on what I present on the stream each evening. So I expect that to bear fruit and make it much more interesting for everyone. And hopefully you'll like what I share. So I need to look at my checklist. So this stream is about world building. I am building a world for containing all of the convention scenarios that I've been running over the years and future convention scenarios and some ideas from my home campaign, and it will be eventually a product on DriveThruRPG. So you'll see my convoluted sausage making process, as it were. So it's not smooth, it's not always clear, but the end result works out pretty well in my experience. So before we get into that, I want to give a quick update on things. So I got a little notepad here to go over that. So the Kickstarter update, as you may or may not know, I've been working on a card game since January of 2018, and so January of 2026 will be 8 years since that process started. And the rules have basically been done since I think there was a little bit of tweaking after COVID, but it was mostly its current form pre-COVID, but COVID kind of threw a wrench in everybody's plans. The biggest wrench in my plans is I'm not very good at layout, and finding people to do layout has been a challenge. That was solved. So the layout, I have a template that's done. The benefit of a template is it makes it easy for me to update it. I have also hired an artist, and all of the design art is done, and every day during the week I get 1 or 2 more pieces trickling in. We are 1 or 2 pieces away from halfway. There's, I believe, 40 total pieces, and I think we're at 18 pieces as of tonight. And the Kickstarter, I had planned, my desire was to get it launched October 1st, and that I could have done it, or maybe October 2nd, but the intro video that I've got is just rougher than I would like. I want that to be more polished, and since I've got an artist working. And I also have an editor going over the rules that will be in PDF form. And they've made great strides and had great suggestions on what they've sent back so far. But the video slowed me down, and then I was looking at a card Kickstarter that another group was doing. It's not a game, but it's a game supplement for RPGs, and they are also using drive-through cards for fulfillment, and they are handling shipping themselves. My whole purpose for using drive-through cards was that do the Kickstarter, everybody orders based on their at cost deck of cards covered by their pledge on the Kickstarter, and then they pay their shipping. The issue is drive-through cards only ships to the United States, and I don't know why I wasn't more thinking about that. So I basically just need to make plans for international shipping. I know that for the UK and Europe, I've got to worry about value-added tax plus shipping. So the value-added tax alone is almost what the pledge would be for the deck of cards plus the shipping. So international has got to be a really expensive deck of cards. And then Canada and the rest of the world will be whatever price that is. I know places like Australia, it'll probably be pretty exorbitant. So I will finish up the video that I'm working on, and then the Kickstarter will launch. My day job has been a pain in the backside with some thorny issues, but thankfully I figured out the big thorny issues that were eating up tons of time. I do tech support for the company I work for on the software they sell, and I got past the support issues because I'm the escalation guy. So when the escalation guy can't figure it out, it makes it a challenge. So I finally figured it out. Anyway, so now that that's done, pressure and stress is off, and I'll get the video edited ASAP. As soon as that video is ready, then I will launch. Hopefully that's sometime tomorrow. The Kickstarter will run for 30 days. The artist is still working away. They will be very close to having all the art done. Well, yeah, they should easily have the art done in 30 days. As they get the art, I will be updating the actual deck that will get printed. So as soon as I get the last art piece, I'll send off for the proof deck. Once the proof deck comes back good, hopefully the first try, right? Then we can proceed onward. I'm also need to edit the copy. I'm trying to get ready to order a deck based on the design art, so I've got something to show during the Kickstarter that, well, it'll just come in the middle of the Kickstarter. I was hoping to have it sooner, but things happen. The good news is everything's proceeding apace, and we should knock that off really quickly. So for tonight's stream, I want to go over the the island I've been working on the last few weeks, and place some major rivers, major cities, name some features, cities, and regions. And before I do that, I want to just do a quick review for anybody that may be new on here. So I added some labels to this map I've been working on. So now we know this is an Earth-sized analog. Basically, world building is simpler if you have something in mind that just makes it easier for you. For me, an Earth-sized planet for my world I'm creating here is easier. The blue rectangles are the rough length and width of Greenland. Greenland is the largest island on Earth. Australia is not an island because it's a continent, because it's on its own tectonic plate. So they refer to it as an island, or an island continent. The red ovals are the approximate placement of Greenland-sized islands. The red rectangles represent archipelagos. The numbers next to each circle, and also on the they're only on the map next to each circle, represent the total number of islands. There are 20 Greenland-sized islands. The letters next to the island in parentheses represent convention scenarios. You can also see the name of the convention scenario in the top left. And how I place these islands is I rolled the dice on my floor, D6s. I took a picture, put the picture on a layer of this map to get the placement, and then I used the red circles in place of the dice. And any dice of the same color, I paired them together. There were more than 2 of each die of the same color, but the way the roll worked, only 2 of each color were close enough together to make sense as an archipelago. This is all rough approximations. I'll refine it as I move forward. I've been very interested in a Greenland-sized island because Greenland without ice is just quite interesting. And what did I do with... I forgot to open that one map. Where are we? Greenland? No, that's not it. Where did I... Yes, here we go. Greenland without ice. So as we can see, Greenland without ice is a large island with more than one large sea in the middle. So we see right here, that's definitely probably bigger than some of the freshwater lakes that we call Great Lakes, or some places that call them seas, like the Aral Sea or Lake Baikal. And there's a isthmus of land across here, another large area, and it's got multiple dividers. And it just looks interesting to me that water travel inside these would have to stop at the land and portage across, and then have other travel through here. And anytime you've got some situation like that, people are going to try to exert power, control, and influence over the trade, and that could set up power struggles here. And the idea I had was for placement of a neutral city-state in the middle of this isthmus here that would control the land route to portage trade across to keep sailing, and allow the factions on either the east and the west to meet in the middle for trading themselves. So what I did is I did an overlay. Well, I apologize. We have a train coming, so before it gets too loud, let me do train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Train break, break it for the train. Train break, train break. Train, train break, break it for the train. Train break, train break. Train, train break, break it for the train. Train break, train break. Train, train break, break it for the train. Train break, train break. Train, train break, break it for the train. Train break. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Town where I live has about 5 crossings across the tracks in town, and by law they have to blow the horn at each crossing. We also have double tracks, so sometimes there's a train going each way, and I live across the street from the house next to the tracks, so it gets a little loud. You may not hear it, but it's loud for me, and so then I talk louder just out of habit, and that could be a little annoying. So got a few links here just since we had an interruption to get us back on track. I've got a world building cheat sheet on sheetography that talks about top down and bottom up world building, just kind of some ideas to consider. I've got links of where to find me for all my socials. And then you can see the pre-launch page for my Kickstarter and the initial blog post about the card game and all the blog posts I've got about it. So if you want to know more, I'll put those in the chat. So just a moment while I drop all these links in the chat. There we go. So now back to my checklist. So I generated this map in Worldographer. It's not as fancy and multifaceted with all the different lakes down here just by the nature of the size. These hexes are about 36 mile hexes, because Greenland is about 1660 by 660 miles. So that's pretty dang big. That's basically, the length is New York City to Kansas City, Missouri, and the width is Kalamazoo, Michigan to Kansas City, Missouri. So that's a big area. So I placed that. I've got a document of what we talked about last time, and made a note of some research I need to do, which that'll happen as we go. Isthmus is Greek for neck, so that's why we call it an isthmus, because it's like a neck of land. And I already named the city in the middle Haven. And I decided that we're going to have dwarves in the west. Or, I'm sorry. I did that again. The east. East is on the right. I know that. And as I explained last time, you're going to get a kick out of listening to me say right when I mean left and vice versa, or east when I mean west or vice versa. Ever since way back when I trained to be an EMT, and you have to, when you're looking at somebody, their right and left is opposite yours, and I got used to the right and left of other people, and that did something in my brain. And good Lord, it's been 40 years since my license expired, because I only had it for 3 years. I didn't renew it because I didn't do much with it when I went off to college. Anyway, so people in the games I run and the Wednesday night Roll20 game laugh at me all the time and give me a hard time because I'm all the time mixing them up, and that leads to some confusion that's very frustrating. At least I get very frustrated with it. Others just sort of roll with it. And the West has elves. And to make it easier to work with, because my worldographer, based on the size of that, sometimes it acts funny, so I exported to a PDF. So we've got a PDF, we can see the whole thing in one go, a little easier to see. And I will start up a new notepad that we can do some of this. Oh, that's way too much. All right. Well, yeah, that's too much. Sorry. All right. So let's start with this. So, city in the middle of the isthmus is Haven. That's a well-used name, but I don't care. Dwarves, Western forests, elves, Southern mountains, other dwarves, okay. All right, so this is based on what I was discussing last time. We're just going to roll with this, and we're going to come up with some more names. So let's get the map here where we can see it. So I also have in a PNG this map, and we will zoom in. Whoop. Let's click the right button. We'll zoom in, and let's make a new layer so we can put labels on here. We'll stick with that. We'll do 12. We'll put Haven there. I'm going to do another layer. Let's see, so this will be labels. And wait a minute. Oh, that is labels. Okay. And this will be cities. There we go. So for cities, let's do a circle, and we'll just place it there. Okay, and oops, that is on the same layer as that. Okay, let me put it on the right layer. There we go. Whoops, that's not the shape I wanted. There we go. That's better. Now we'll save it. Okay, so there. Then let's pull back a little bit. And we will let's go one size up. Humans here. Okay. Then let's go another size up and we'll do regions. So we need a name for a region of dwarves. Feel free to chime in. I am going to go to let's see, where is it? There we go. Fantasy name generators. So at fantasynamegenerators.com, that's a handy little site I use quite a bit. So let's do places and locations, and let's do that's round. They have region, or what's another word for region? Well, the name of a region. All right, we'll just go with realm names. And oh boy, that's interesting. Okay, Cerulean Yonder. That makes sense across the ocean. Let me capture that idea. Let me see. We'll put that here. Reach. So let's use reach as a descriptive. Whoop. Let's see. So reach is in reaching upward. What are we gonna call that? Boy, these are some tongue twister names. I just love how they make stuff. Oh, the Dormant Realms. Let's see. I'll just make a list of stuff to keep for later. That almost looks like diarrhea. Oh my god. Diosoria. Yeah. that's cool. The Azure Reach. Okay. Oh, it only lets you copy one at a time. Just looking for something that seems Vale. Should be Valley, right? Valley, okay. That's what I thought. Rain Vale, okay. So that sort of fits, because I was thinking if we're using an Earth-sized analog and the standard weather pattern is the weather goes west to east, that since there's mountains on the east here, that the rain is going to fall here. There's some low hills here. This is a valley, so the Rain Vale, interior of the island. That makes sense. So just some random names that we get here prove evocative, and they speak to me. The Nightmare Vales. The Shifting Realms. Frozen Vales, okay. Okay. Well, the Oracle Vale. Gotta pardon me, I kind of get wrapped up in some of these names here. And my ideas start cranking and I go silent. So that makes that a little more challenging. I'm trying to be sure I'm talking more to get us through this. And the Hidden Yonder, was that? Okay. I don't know, some of these may not seem that great, but there's something about it. Veil of Ghosts. One more and then I'll try a different one. The Iron Territories. Flaming Veil. Okay, let's see. Let's get a different one. Whoop. That didn't go where I wanted. Alright, places and locations. Let's try. Let's try that one. Oof. That's just alphabet soup, man. Good golly. Okay, that's not helpful. Let's try kingdom names. Oh, there's an isthmus names. Let's check that out real quick. Well, that's not bad. Okay. I'm gonna move this down here because the Haven span isthmus. Keep it simple. That's how a lot of things get named, after the name of the. Alright, the Free City, Free Port of Haven is on the Haven span. Okay. The Free City, Free Port, city, state. Okay. We've got that. Then I was getting ready to do kingdom names. Well, I didn't mean to do that. Alright, so I gotta quit tapping on the table here. Nervous habit. Dynasty. Or Ko Kaga. My gosh. Looking for like a dwarven kingdom or an elvish kingdom. This is a challenge. Getting a good name. My goodness, that's not helpful. All right, well, let's look on C here. Gee whiz. See some of these things and it's like, I don't think my names are very good sometimes, but some of these, my goodness. Boy, this is just not moving right along. So I invite people to feel free and suggest names. So what I'm doing here, oh, that's not the one I'm working on. I'm placing things, and so far I've got labels where the dwarves, elves, and humans are, and the haven on the Haven Isthmus that crosses the southern end of this long inland sea, large lake. Well, Long Lake makes sense there, so why not? I can change it later. Then I was trying to come up with a name for the Dwarvish Kingdom over here, but well, I've got dwarves here and dwarves here, two different groups of dwarves, and my generator was not giving me the evocative names I was after. So let me just try a couple more. I'm just not liking these. Okay. What would be all right. Well, let's think about some rivers. Moving Creek. Boy, these names just are not tripping my trigger. Got a few ideas on region names. Bog Beast Stream. Why not Bog Beast Bog? Alright, we'll do a couple more here, see if anything. Alright. So name's not so good. So let's place some major rivers. Let's do that. So obviously with mountains there's going to be lots of streams and tributaries, but there should be some major rivers coming from the higher ground. So I'm thinking, well, first let me get that. Let me see what's that. Okay, that's perfect. All right, so let's have something come down to here, something else go this way, have one here that wanders more because it's not as steep. Do that. get to the bottom here and we'll, let's see, I need to fix some of that terrain. So let's you probably have something through here. And over here would have something. Just kind of where it seems to speak to me where a river might be. Yeah, some of these hexes look like dry or arid or desert hexes, but I'll be changing up some of these hexes when I refine the map. Oh, and like here it's joined up. The auto place terrain based on the image of that Greenland map without ice did that. So there's some major rivers. So we're going to place a dwarven settlement. I'm thinking there might be like there. So let's go back to circles and let's place it here. Whoop, that's on the wrong thing. I want that on that layer. Okay. And humans. I'm sure they probably have. Well, why would it be way up there? They'd have it closer to that. And they'd probably have another one over there. That's not very good. Let's fix that. Save that. I'll put it there. Elves. I'm sure they'd have something here. And let's say they've got something there. Whoop. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what happened. My OBS said it disconnected, so I hope everything's going okay. It just kind of beeped at me. I just lost my viewers. What happened? I don't know. I hope they come back. I think it's still streaming. Okay, so we're still streaming. Sorry about that, everybody. My OBS disconnected for a minute, so it came back. So I'm not sure quite what happened there. It just beeped at me. Let me see what's going on with my internet here. supposed to be excuse me, they're supposed to be doing some work on the internet provider in a while. I think next week. So it shouldn't be today. Let me get to my software where I can see what's going on. Yeah, my router and office, well, my modem and office hotspot are operational, so my office hotspot is wireless to the hotspot, but from the hotspot it's wired to my desktop, so I don't see a problem there. Not sure what that was all about. Alright. Back to where I was. Oh yeah, placing cities. So I placed a couple of cities. So a couple for the elves, a couple for the humans, one for the eastern dwarves, western dwarves. Maybe they want to be a little more isolated deep in the mountains, so let's make them more isolated like that. There might be other cities, but I'm just worried about like major cities. Dwarfs. Let's see, there might be something up here. Let's say there's something, well, let's see. I was going to place, let's go to labels, and let's put it here. So I've got, let me do it. A mated pair of rocks in the mountains, so it kind of makes it hard for a large city to exist over on this side. So that would kind of limit what they do. The dwarves can hunker down in the mountains, so they would hunt large sea creatures in the sea over here, and if there's any large creatures in this large lake, and then whatever's out and about that they can descend on. So let's say that there's a city over, back to city layer and back to here, and let's place one there. Save all that. I'll hit the wrong thing. Hit the printer instead of the save. There we go. Alright, so we've got some rivers, some settlements, humans, elves, and dwarves, and some rocks. Let's do this. I want to put the label, and we'll call, so up here are herders. They tend not to get too close to the rocks, as that's a good way to lose their flocks. And I put that on the wrong layer. Let me put that on the correct layer because I want labels on the label layer. Here we go. And so they'll herd whatever kind of herd animals they've got. Sheep, goats, cattle, horses, donkeys, whatever. And anybody want to chime in on the chat? I did open it up where you don't have to be in the chat for 10 minutes before you can comment, so you should be able to comment. If you can't, let me know. Those of you that, you can say something on one of my socials and let me know that you couldn't comment, because the idea is to be more interactive. So I'm just trying to get things placed, and you should be able to hear me. Let me just make sure my sound is working. Hello, hello? Okay, so I heard that. You should have heard a double sound on your end. So I got that worked out. So we got some labels of that, but what do I want to call? All right, let's do, so the dwarves. What's a good, so we'll call, what's that name I was using in my home campaign? The it's escaping me. It's on the tip of my tongue. The good grief. No, I'm not going to go rummaging through my notes to get that name. 8 minutes on the session. Well, that's interesting. Let me look at something else over here. Well, it still shows I'm live on that screen. Okay. All right. I guess it's working okay. All right, let's go with this, and we'll call it all right, so I like the idea of a massive waterfall called High Falls. I've got something like that in my Roll20 campaign that I've run for a few years. It's been on hiatus a couple years. Oh God, yeah, at least 2 years. Anyway, so having a massive tall waterfall called High Falls near the dwarven major settlement over there. So High Falls is the name of the falls, which might give rise to the river being called High Falls River, or just High Falls. People might just call the dwarven settlement High Falls, but it could be, oh man, I didn't use my coupon when I went to the store. It's got stuck behind my phone and wrinkled up. Sorry, digging in my shirt pocket here. But the dwarves might not name it after the water. They might not. They would probably name it after something to do with their mountain settlement. So the mountain settlement itself, the dwarves would call. What would they have? There could be massive caverns, or okay, I had some names on the name thing. That would be here. All right, so major settle. Whoop. Turn off the caps. Major settlement near the High Falls. Humans usually call it the settlement High Falls. The dwarves call it. All right, there we go. So what do the dwarves call this? So it's going to be an under mountain, in the mountain sort of settlement. And let's go back here. And mount. Excuse me. Gee whiz. That's a good idea for mountains. One more. Nope. All right. Not liking that. Mountain pass names. Boy. Excuse me. All right, well, not coming up with good mountain names from that. Sometimes I get some really good names off of this. Other times it's pretty challenging. Well, let's give world names a try. What do I want to call this water world? Well, that's... Yeah, I'm not seeing much there. So, what would the dwarves call their settlement? So down here, I've got the dwarven settlement near the High Falls, which is a really high waterfall. And humans just call it High Falls because that's how you know you're there. But the actual settlement is called by the dwarves. Feel free to chime in if you got any ideas. Well, session says 17 minutes, so I guess when it interrupted, it started over. Excuse me. So it's going to be a two-part thing online, I guess. So we'll see what it looks like after I'm done here. So dwarves. Iron Spires will be the name of that eastern mountain range because of all the iron. So what would they call it? Well, I'll be thinking on that. So let's go to 14 and we'll call this iron spires. Okay. Need a name for that settlement. Oh yeah, I was gonna. All right, let's do. Rain Vale. That's basically the valley we're gonna do there. So settlement, coming up with names of everything else. So that I'm gonna. I thought I already moved that down here. Okay, there we go. get my brain wrapped around what they found or what it looks like, then I'll have a name. Everybody's got their own way of doing that. I can come up with my own weird, funky names, but just using good descriptors, you can come up with something pretty cool without having to be difficult to remember. Because if you just make up a string of letters that you can pronounce, it may be difficult to remember if it's not grounded in something. Whereas if you just use some good adjectives and whatnot, you can have a description of something in the name. So iron spire, so tall mountains full of iron. Pretty easy to understand that. What would they call it? Iron deep. That makes sense. There we go. So that would be a 12. And let's go down here. We'll call this iron deep. And I thought I put high falls here. High falls. All right, so got some dwarves down here. I think there was something on here. Let me see. What are we going to call this? Okay. I'm going to call this river Gold Run. Lots of gold. So we need 14. We'll call these use the good grief, golden reaches. And let's see. That works. In the dwarven settlement there. Let me see. Save that. Oh, there's my Kickstarter page. Preview page. See more about it. And I wanted to get, ooh, God, synonym yellow. What are other words for yellow? Amber. Okay. Let's see, chicken. Blonde, gold, amber. The amber is tree resin. So alright. We'll call this oh, what? Forest names. Oh, there's another. Not woods, not forest. Okay, there we go. Got it. Just had to get my brain to agree. So we'll call this amberwood. And Lake Amber. Sure, why not? So gold, dwarven settlement. Let's see. So, I've got a sense of what I'm going for, but the word or phrase I'm after is just not coming to the front of my mind here. So, dwarves, gold, settlement, mountain, mining, golden. Well, we've already got Golden Reaches and Gold River. Maybe they would avoid the name gold in the name of their settlement to dissuade the foolish. Well, what descriptor do I want for that? Okay, golden. Okay, so dwarves, subterranean, city, all right, we will call it deep home. And I can turn off the background and see all the labels. All right. So what next? So the elves are in the amberwood. So they got plenty of amber. And all right, we'll call this Amber Haven. Why not? Okay, and humans up here. We could we'll just call this Southport. Northport. why not? I grew up near Kansas City, and Westport is a neighborhood in Kansas City. I don't know if it's still a independent city or not. It used to be its own city, and the way Kansas City's grown up, they basically surrounded other communities, and so those communities can't grow in geographic size because they're surrounded. And I think they passed a law in Missouri that you can't do that anymore. But like Raytown, Missouri is surrounded by Kansas City, so it's not going to get any bigger geographically. Okay, we've got that, we've got that. Had some ideas on here. Let me see. Cerulean yonder. I like that. We'll do this. Okay. We didn't name the island. Is there anything on here? What do they call it? The Golden Reaches. And Deep Hole. And all right. So okay. Okay. We call it the Lake Amber Southern Interior Lake. Okay. So I'm just, oh. Hey, mate. Oh, thanks. Satri Let me see, Satri Gray. How would you say that? So, what do you do on Discord? You big gamer? You follow D&D and such? Where are you from? Oh, I pinned it. I didn't mean to pin that message. There we go. Just trying to see if it'd let me do something with the chat here. Not quite big enough to do stuff with chat. Getting there. Alright, what do we got here? So, oh yeah, name of the island. So let's hop back here and places and island names. Well, I'm not seeing anything really helpful here. Alright, let's go back to that. Let's get back to the map. So, it's not round, but it is ovalish. So there's alright, let's do this. Sea crown isle, because it's like a crown rising from the sea. Doesn't have to look like a crown, but some of the names that we've come up with on places on Earth aren't so hot or exciting. What else could I call it? So, what am I going to call this place? I haven't figured out which location this is going to take on my map of Greenland-sized islands. I just was really struck by Greenland under the ice. Island name. What would we call this? So it's got to be something evocative of an island surrounded by ocean with basically an inland sea. What are we going to call this? Island. So hello, welcome. I'm struggling with a name for the island that I'm working on here. I've named a couple of mountain ranges, a forest, a lake, the ocean, some settlements, a couple of rivers, but I wanted a name for the island. I tried random generation and that didn't come up very well. So I don't like Sea Crown. I mean, it's interesting, but this would make that be a more fitting name for a rounder island. rain. Um, Coming to the last 15 minutes of tonight's stream, I'd like to come up with a name for this island. Viewers are welcome to chime in the chat. Well, there's a lake in the middle, so Lake Island is a possibility. Typo. Let me fix that. All right. Um, so I am struggling with. Those are interesting names, but I want something that's just more punchier, grabs your attention. What would be well, I am struggling to come up with the name here. Sorry for my long silence. I get quiet when I'm thinking sometimes. Well, not sometimes, most of the time. There's a couple of different words that are not coming to mind here. The one problem with streaming on a Friday night is after a really crazy long week at work, even though I'm not totally wiped out from the work day, the chaos of the week is kind of slowing me down. I've got some good progress. But I want one more piece, and that's a name for the island. I haven't named the human region or kingdom or whatever it is yet. I've named their two cities. I didn't name one of the Elvish cities. I'll name it in a bit here, but I want that island name. Well, iron is kind of gray. Could call it Gray Spires Island. Oh, good grief. Gray Spires Island. Okay, let's see. Let's come to the top up here. Let's do 20 for this. We'll do, whoops, Gray Spires Island. Whoop. Not mean for it to jump like that. Let me get that back in a somewhat semblance of order here. Alright, we've got that, and we didn't name this settlement, so that would be that size. Let's do that. Okay, Woodhaven. Okay, and then the human region, let's call it, let's see, well, let me get that back. Okay. do this. There. Alright, so the human region, I'm going to call that one of these. Greenwood. We'll call this Northwood and Eastwood. There we go. So okay. Rivers to have names. Okay. So there we go. I've got progress. So that brings us to 10 o'clock Eastern. Showing I've only been streaming for an hour and 7 minutes, but there was a hiccup that interrupted my stream. I'm not sure what that was about. So it says I'm still recording whatever I'm streaming here. So somehow my OBS program that I use for streaming didn't like something and disconnected and dropped everybody out, but it came back on its own. So I guess I'll see how this plays out afterwards. Oh, and we only had one train break tonight, so that was really awesome. I was a little surprised by that. Last stream, I think we had 4 or 5. It was like, and that my train break card was like the main picture associated with last week's stream, which I thought was pretty funny. So, again, thank you all for coming. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. Have a restful evening. May you get a chance in for some gaming or game-related activities, reading, watching a show, getting your needed chores done, whatever it is. Hope it's a good weekend and that you and your loved ones are safe and have all you need. And until next time, game on.
Knows how to wield a sword, spellbinding and divine, up on a shield to a wolf. And if you have the time, he's got a mean sales pitch, he even makes it rhyme. And if you need a job, this is his go-to line. Some people wanna die more, I can't imagine why. They say once you fuck the bomb, there's nothing left to buy. But if you wanna die rich, go punch up on both eyes. Then raise up your long sword, follow me and die. Yeah, raise up your long sword, follow me and die. Knows how to wield a sword, spellbinding and divine, up on a shield to